everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you that are new to my channel, I want to say welcome, and for those of you that are a part of the Fab Whining family, welcome back. My name is Crystal and you're watching Fashion, Beauty, and Wine. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing an in-depth makeup tutorial using a full face almost of Colourpop Cosmetics. Colourpop launched its no filter foundation as well as a setting powder and pressed setting powder on June 14th, and on June 14th I was able to purchase the full line. It took about a week to arrive to my house, and once it arrived, I wanted to really try out the products just to make sure that they work. So that's why the video was a little bit late, but I do have a lot of information to give you all. I purchased 3 shades. Initially, when I went to the Colourpop's website, I was a bit confused. The pictures that corresponded with the foundations looked nothing like my skin tone, so I struggled a few times with purchasing this foundation. All in all, I ended up making 3 different purchases just to get the right shade of foundation. Now, it wasn't until I watched Princess K video did I discover that they had a chart that matched up foundations that you might have to the best shade of foundation within their brand. I ended up getting color match with Deep Dark 180, but throughout the whole process, I had purchased several other shades. I purchased 165, I also purchased 170, which I was able to email Colourpop and let them know the situation, and they were able to switch out the colors of foundation for me. I also went back and purchased 190 as well as 185 just to make sure that I wasn't purchasing the wrong foundation, because you know, sometimes they say that you're close to this color, but that may not necessarily be true. So I was able to compare all 3 of those shades, and while I feel like Deep Dark 185 is closer to my skin tone, I'm just gonna go ahead in this tutorial and use the foundation color 180 because that is the color that Colourpop suggested to me. So I'm just gonna work with that color. Now, if you all want to see what I come up with, because like I said, I'm gonna be doing the full face, I'm gonna be doing an eye look using Colourpop products, their foundation, their setting powders, the pressed powders. I'm gonna be using everything Colourpop. Unless there are some things that I don't have in Colourpop products, then I won't use Colourpop. But for the most part, in this video, I'm going to be doing a full face using Colourpop products. So the first thing that I do whenever I'm doing my makeup is I start off with my eyebrows. I have the color Black and Brown in Colourpop's eye pencil, and I'm going to use this to fill in my brows. Now that my brows are filled in, what I like to use is Colourpop's Brow Boss Gel. I absolutely love this stuff, and since I'm not doing a review on either the eyebrow pencil or the eyebrow gel, I'm just gonna let you know that I literally fell in love with these items. The gel doesn't leave your eyes feeling crunchy and hard. It truly gives you a natural look. I generally don't like to use other brow products other than Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I'm gonna tell you, the Colourpop Brow Gel is honey good. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm gonna prime my eyes. I'm gonna prime my eyes using Dark 44. This color is a new color by Colourpop. It's an added concealer color. I've never used it, but I do want to try it out to see how it looks. Now, right off the back, this color has more of a pinkish undertone. I'm used to using Dark 46, which has a more golden brown undertone, but it is what it is. I'll make it work. So I purchased 3 pressed powders. I purchased the medium dark, dark, and deep dark. For my eyes, I'm gonna use the medium dark to set my eyes. It is the lightest color, and it is the color that I prefer to set my eyes with, just so that whatever color I decide to put on my eyelid, it will have the maximum color payoff. Gonna set on my eyelids as well as underneath my eyelids. Gonna pat that in, and I'm gonna do a couple of layers. Now after that, I am gonna go into eyes. Now I'm gonna, for the most part, fast forward this part. I'm gonna show you what I do, but I'm not gonna go into detail because today we're not doing a review on the eyes. It's more so about the actual foundation and setting powder, so I'm not gonna really talk through it, okay? Now that that's done, I'm going to take a break from the eyes and come back to them later. But right now what I want to do, however, is start with the foundation. Now I've already prepped my face and primed it, and since Colourpop doesn't have any of those, I use something from another brand. I'm going to pump a little bit of this foundation on a brush, and I'm going to apply that to my face. It's looking a little bit orange. I feel like nowadays when companies create foundations, it almost kind of doesn't matter what the shade is, because they know people are just gonna contour, which I don't know. I don't like that a lot. I feel like a lot of times the companies are not too concerned with getting perfect foundation matches, because obviously they can't get a foundation to match every skin type and color, but I feel like some of the colors are so far off that it doesn't really matter, especially with them, because they know you're just gonna contour. Like, I'm looking at this color in the monitor, and it's truly on the orange side. Like, it's pulling a lot of red undertones. Like, if you look at my chest, it's like gold all through here, gold, and then this one is pulling red undertones. I will say, when I did a color match, when I tried to find the color that was closest to my shade, Colourpop said that they didn't have anything that was a perfect match, but the closest was the 180. Colourpop, I like you, but we're gonna have to go back to the drawing table with this foundation. I mean, moving on, I'm just gonna start concealing my face. Concealer I absolutely love, and I'm using 46 Dark, which used to be like golden something, golden 60, but to date, it's like one of my favorite concealers. I love this concealer. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to dip into the banana setting powder. I also purchased the dark setting powder as well as the translucent setting powder. I'm gonna set one eye with the banana, and then I'm gonna set the other eye with the translucent, just to see what I get. And I'm gonna be truthful, like, I don't really notice big differences with the different setting powders. The only thing that I know is I don't like super fine setting powder, because whenever you open it up, it goes everywhere. It goes into your nose. So I'm not a big fan of finely pressed setting powder. Next thing I'm gonna do is take some of that deep dark pressed powder. I'm gonna take a bronze brush, and I'm going to set all of the other areas of my face which hasn't been set, and I'm gonna kind of go over those setting powders to get rid of some of those harsh lines. I also have some Colourpop bronzer, which I will use to contour my nose as well as my cheekbones. So it's called Bits and Pieces. I love this bronzer. This bronzer is probably one of my favorite bronzers. It brings warmth back into my skin and it contours. Now that that's done, that's out of the way, I'm gonna go and add some blush. And I'm gonna use the Knockout Colourpop Pressed Powder Duo Kit, and it's almost like a peach color. looking very, very light up in here. Nevertheless, I'm just gonna go back in. I'm gonna go back in and add some color to the under eye. I'm gonna add the first color. And go back into that blue. Add it to the upper area. Then I'm gonna go into this little baby blue color that I got from Colourpop. And I'm gonna pop that right in the inner corner of my eyes. Now that I have my eyes done, I'm gonna use the color Bitchy. Love that. I'm gonna use the color Bitchy to outline my lips. Then I'm gonna use the color Donut to fill in my lip. I want this to be a little bit more on the orange side. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the liner Frenchie to the lips. Ooh, that lip is bright, honey. Wasn't expecting it to go this bright, but the more colors, the better. I'm just gonna add a little bit of lip gloss right to the center of my lips just to make it pop just a little. I feel like Roger Rabbit's girlfriend, the nurse. Just gonna set my face and then give my final review. I love Colourpop as a brand. I'm mostly in love with their eyeshadows, their eye products, their lip pencil, their eye pencils. I'm really, really in love with Colourpop when it comes to those types of things. As far as like their highlighters and blushes, I've never really been a big fan of those because I feel like their blushes don't show up on my skin. They're not pigmented enough. I feel like for the most part, their highlighters and their blushes come across my skin as being very, very ashy. The no filter concealers, as you all know, I've always raved about their no filter concealers. In fact, I feel like some of their concealers are some of my favorite concealers in my collection, and those are the concealers that I reach for first when I'm doing my makeup looks. As far as the no filter foundation, I have mixed feelings on the foundation. I like the foundation when it comes to being an affordable foundation. However, I will say this, I'm not sure how long Colourpop has been working on their foundations, and really, it's not really any of my business. All I care about is just having a nice product for what you say it's gonna be. Now, when they made the no filter concealers, the concealers were comparable to Tarte Shape Tape. That's how good they were. So when they brought out the foundations, I was expecting the same thing. I was a bit let down with the foundations. As far as the undertones, honestly, I couldn't find any color to match my undertone. And when we're talking about creating shades for women of color, my skin tone is probably one of the most popular colors. Like, it's usually the darkest color that a makeup company has. And so not having a color that was close enough to my skin tone, I kind of felt let down. But at the end of the day, I feel like they wanted to, you know, hit the people that don't necessarily have color ranges for their skin tone. The color that they had suggested that I choose was a bit on the orange side, as I mentioned in the video, and I felt like after wearing it for a while, the foundation would spread. And so at the end of the day, for $12, it's not something that I expected from Colourpop, but it's not something that I would not expect for a $12 foundation. I was kind of disappointed by that. After the second and third hour, the foundation completely started to just separate and break apart. All of my pores started to be exposed. Now, I don't know if that's because I didn't wear primer on the first day or because it was like 100 degrees. I don't know, but whatever it was, I wasn't too happy with it. So after filming this video, I really wanted to give this foundation a chance. And so I decided that I would do a 4-hour check-in just to see the foundation was able to hold up or not. Now, over the previous week, I felt like I didn't give this foundation a fair chance. A couple of days I went out without primer, and there were several days last week which the temperatures were really hot. And so you know, I couldn't blame the foundation or my skin for becoming an oily mess after 1 hour, because that was just the situation I was in. After trying the foundation out, I picked my husband up and took him out for a late night dance and a little bit of food. I feel like this makeup was able to stand up. So at the end of the day, this actually changes my opinion, my review, and I actually like this foundation a little bit more. I appreciate it a little bit more. I'm still on the fence about the undertones, and that's not going to change. The foundation still also, unfortunately, separated, but not a lot, only around the nose area, but it did a lot better, and the results that I've gotten today are pretty normal for any foundation. Generally, after 3 to 4 hours, your oils are gonna start coming through, and it's not gonna look as good as when you first applied it. So Colourpop surprised me, and I'm here for it. I was a bit sad because I ended up buying 6 of these no filter foundations, assuming that they would be as great as the concealers, but a more affordable foundation. As far as the pressed powders go, I used the pressed powder on the first day in substitute of the loose setting powder, and honestly, when I was applying it to my face, because it was so hot, the oils from my face were just coming out. The pressed powder was soaking them up, but it was starting to ball up on my face. It was the weirdest thing. It was almost like the foundation started separating. It started crumbling up into little balls, and it was extremely, extremely weird. It kind of deterred me from using the setting powder. I generally don't use setting powder to set my foundation unless I'm going to work, when I don't want to use like heavy setting powders. So I just decided I would not use it anymore. I would just use it for the eye area. I will say that when I used it on my eyes, I found that it worked a lot better than using it on my under eyes. I don't know why that may be, but I just didn't have the best experience with the pressed setting powder. Now with the no filter loose setting powder, I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. My only gripe with Colourpop is that their powder, their translucent powder, is too white, and the banana powder is too light. Like, the banana powder could be a little bit more on the yellow side. It could be a little bit more pigmented. I found it to be chalky and more on the white side. And when I finished doing this look, I felt like my face was really, really white, like a lot more white than what it usually is. And I don't like setting powders that are too white, or I don't like them when they're too bright. Like, I like them to be pigmented enough on my dark skin to where color doesn't just sit on top of the skin, but it melts into the skin, if that makes any sense. So my final thoughts on the full no filter collection. I feel like the collection is not a bad collection. It's not the best collection. I feel like it's very much so worth the money that you pay for it. I wasn't expecting this foundation to send me to the moon and back. However, because of the reputation that the no filter concealer has had, I was expecting the same thing from the foundation, and I was a little bit let down. At the end of the day, is it a horrible collection to purchase? I'm gonna say no. Do I regret buying so many foundations? Yes. But I feel like you can make this collection work. I feel like with a few more trials and tweaks, I can really get this foundation and the setting powders as well as the pressed powders to work out perfectly for me. So at this moment, I'm not going to necessarily give up on Colourpop, because Colourpop has a great reputation. And at the end of the day, you're going to make mistakes along the way. I'm not holding those against you, because I feel like with this company, they're always listening and they're always willing to evolve and change and make their products better. So I'm going to say, as of right now, the collection can use some work, but it's not a bad collection. It is a collection that you can work with, that's doable, and that has potential to be great in the future. So Colourpop, if you're listening to this, I feel like you all can do a little bit more to bring this collection up to the next level. I would say this collection is okay. It is worth purchasing because it's worth the money. It is affordable. And at the end of the day, the worst comes to worst, you lost $12. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to press that thumbs up button. And if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, take a little second to press the subscribe button. And then while you're at it, press that alert bell so you can be alerted every time I post a new video. Now, I am on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Musical.ly, all under keywords fashion, beauty, and wine. Thank you again for joining me. I wish you all nothing but peace, of love, fashion, beauty, and wine. Bye-bye.